Hi, I'm Kenny, currently in my late 20s. And when I tell people that I will retire a millionaire by the time I'm 40, they think I'm joking, like I haven't run the numbers. But I have, and I'm actually on track. So to be able to retire early, I've had to work out my freedom number. So this is basically how much I need invested to be able to live comfortably. And for me, based on the minimum kind of lifestyle I'll be looking at, that's looking like around 1.2 million pounds. Based on this number and something called the 4% rule, I'll be able to withdraw 4% of this amount every year passively without having to work. So this amount is going to be invested in the stock market, which grows by 8% on average per year. So I'm going to use that to my advantage. So I made a previous video about how I've been able to save and invest around 100k throughout my 20s. The majority of that money is actually invested in index funds, and these are one of the lower risk ways to invest, which is why the majority of my savings and investments are in index funds. So I basically set up a weekly direct debit for the last few years since lockdown that invest every single week on my behalf into funds. You can do this using platforms and apps like Moneybox, Plum, Trading 212, eToro, and other regulated platforms. And then I also invest in individual stocks, but I only have a small portion of money in individual stocks just to play around with them because these are typically higher risk. So I own shares in companies like Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, which is Google, Amazon, Nvidia, which are basically some of the biggest tech companies in the world. And then I also have some equity in my property that I bought a few years ago, which is now a rental property and has since gone up in value a little bit. So there's some equity in that. And if you're based in the UK, the key is to make sure that you're investing in something called a stocks and share ISA, because this is so much more tax efficient. And you actually have an allowance, which is £20,000 that you're allowed to invest, and any gains that you make on that is tax-free. So if I continue to remain consistent with my investments, compound interest and time will do the heavy lifting. A big chunk of that 1.25 million that I mentioned at the start, it's not going to be money that I contributed, it's going to be money that I've gained from the stock market and compound interest, which is the best part about investing, because you're literally gaining money on money that you've already gained. How do you think you'd spend your time if you had the opportunity to retire early? See you in the comments.